Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. It is, of course, the Fruit Nut News on, the 11th of the 4th, Saturday the 11th, ladies and gentlemen. From what I can gather, Passover, is it today? Good Friday yesterday, Passover today, Resurrection tomorrow. Here we go. So, excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Not a massive amount to tell you today, or tonight, should we say? But very interesting, very interesting things. So I picked up on a few things, so I'm going to share them with you, and we'll reiterate some of the stuff that we went through this morning, because I think that is worth reiterating about certain people and certain speeches that have been made. So, good evening, everyone. Hope we're all okay. We are fast approaching 29 people. Dave Hunter's in the house, Diane Williamson, Sue Allen, Valerie Mooney, Charlene Lamborghini's in, Lisa's in, Ann Taylor's in, Natalie Bowen's joining us tonight as well. We've also got Shepherd in. That's the Great Shepherd, of course. Graham Smarts is in, Sheila Douglas is in, Lisa Thirlwell's in, Bill Gill is in. The gorgeous Pamela from Pam Creenham from America-shire. Belinda's joining us. A proper truth seeker is our Belinda. Olivia's in. Sarah P's in. Looney Lena's joining us. Fun Clips is in. Chris Taylor's joining us. Angie's in. Joyce Guest is in. Denise is in. We've also got Brenda Corcoran, John Brink and Mark Facass. Not to mention Leslie Ann Rental. Zena is joining us as well tonight. So good evening, Zena. Not very often you see your name. Ava's in. Phil Nicholas is in. How you doing, Phil? Hope you're okay. Glenn Pearson in. And, of course, David Hannon. So good evening, everyone. One and all. Hope you're all okay. Happy Saturday today. So you will notice red eyes, etc., some form of allergic reaction to something, not quite sure. So if you see me scratching, please don't be alarmed. It's not scabies. Okay, lovely. So what have we got for you tonight? Well, it's all kicking off, isn't it, on planet Earth? Let me tell you. Remember, the ending won't be for everyone, as my friend Looney Lena says. The ending won't be for everyone. Very interesting. Now, don't forget, the 11th of the 4th, 26 gives us a 7-7 day, and tomorrow is unusually an 8-8 day. 8-8, of course, is Back to the Future, as you well know. So we'll wait and see. Zena says she keeps missing my lives. Well, tonight, your lucky night, Zena. You have made it to a live. There you go. Now, let's look at Erica Kirk. After the recent death, of course, of Charlie Kirk, whether or not you want to believe that Charlie Kirk was assassinated is, of course, entirely up to you. It could, of course, been a planned thing. We're just not quite sure. You never can tell. The psyops are off the charts. Meanwhile, of course, and that was, of course, Charlie Kirk talking against Israel. So, he got the bullet, of course. There you go. So, very unusual behaviour from his wife. This is a wife who apparently was a lesbian. She really enjoyed women more than men. And very interesting. Married Charlie Kirk, apparently, as you well know. Did some very interesting celebrations after Charlie died. There was, of course, the very close encounter with J.D. Vance, if you remember, where, of course, J.D. Vance has his hand on her arse, and she's cuddling him like a long-lost lover, so to speak. So, very, very strange behaviour. And it turns out, of course, today, I'm not sure whether it's today or whether it was in the past, I really don't know. But apparently she is dating Benjamin Netanyahu's son. So I'm not sure whether this is current. I think it's current. But yeah, very interesting that she's dating Benjamin Netanyahu's son. Who would have thought, who would have thought? Now, of course, let's talk about the Friends of Israel. And, of course, keeping it in the family. Oh, yes, the Friends of Israel. Who just happens to be Friends of Israel? Well, most of the Labour Party happen to be Friends of Israel. You may or may not know. Zach Polensky, the Green Party sheriff in the UK, is, of course, Friends of Israel. Very interesting. Wonder who in the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are Friends of Israel as well. Very interesting to find that one out. Now, of course, it's a well-known fact that Erica Kirk did have ties to Israel from many moons ago. That's probably why she was dispatched to basically marry Charlie Kirk. Now, of course, she's a rather rich woman because she's managed to gain full access to the Turning Point funds. This, of course, is the USA Turning Point that Charlie Kirk set up and, of course, was very popular. Now, who else do we know that's connected to Israel? Oh, yeah, that Jared Kushner fella. Do you know the one I mean? Married to Ivanka Trump. That's an interesting move, isn't it? Now, why would Jared Kushner, who regularly was attended to by Benjamin Netanyahu, we're not quite sure what capacity, Jared apparently grew up with Benjamin Netanyahu visiting his house and staying over. Well, there you go. Who wouldn't know? I mean, that's just normal behavior. Now, of course, Jared Kushner is, of course, married to, of course, Ivanka Trump. Now, that's an interesting move, isn't it? Ivanka Trump's dad just happens to be the president of the United States of America. So, it's an interesting move there. Was Jared Kushner sort of obfuscated to marry Ivanka Trump in some kind of a love ritual, so to speak, which would, of course, give Jared Kushner access to, of course, Donald Trump. Don't tell me it's never been done before, because let me tell you, it's been done thousands of times over the last few years, or should we say hundreds of years. You know what they always say? Marry for money. You can always scrape a bit of love together. Brilliant. And of course, in the circles that these people are in, it's not unusual for them to do that. So, yeah, very interesting. Remember that Jared Kushner has also been very, very influential in many of the peace deals and many of the rebuilding projects across the globe. Yeah, Gaza particularly, Ukraine, possibly trying to get involved in Iran at the moment. Very interesting. So we'll wait and see on that one. But the clock keeps ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. Remember that we have to have a great deal of discernment. We have to drop our ego, and we have to not jump to conclusions. Sit yourself at 40,000 feet and watch the shenanigans unfold, because let me tell you, it's going to unfold. And probably the ending won't be for everyone. And when we talk about that, we kind of talk about the Trump savior syndrome, etc., etc., and of course the Melania speech yesterday, which we will come to again in a moment or two. But first of all, let's talk about the JAG officers. Now, the JAG officers are relatively, what should we say, relatively quietly working in the background. You don't really hear a lot from them. But anyway, we shall wait and see. So they arrested the Secretary of Energy. Now, this guy was part of Obama's clan, and he was in power between 2009 and 2013. Apparently, he was selling nuclear secrets to China. Very interesting. So we'll wait and see. It appears to me that underneath the surface, the net is very, very slowly closing in on all kinds of different people in all kinds of different positions. So yeah, if you are doing something bad, I suggest you stop doing it forthwith. That's to all you drug dealers and, car entrepreneurs, should we say. Meanwhile, Trump yesterday called out a load of social media influencers. This included Alex Jones, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly. I think there was Tucker Carlson was one of them as well. And could we say that this was a magical move, or was it a strategic move? We're not quite sure. But we will, of course, things will unfold themselves. Now, remember that we do have pretend supporters who claim to be patriots. They claim to be all kinds of things, but in fact they're not. And I'm not particularly talking about whether or not they support Trump or MAGA. I'm talking about just in general. Now, the sort of thing about this, my thoughts on this are relatively simple. We know that there are false people in every aspect of life and in every aspect of this show. And I think it's healthy to have a cautious approach to anyone, particularly people in power or people in influential positions, so to speak. However, I suggest that we lose the ego and we watch the game as it continues to unfold. Okay, I'm certain that the people who who are going to be called to account will, of course, be called to account at some particular. And the interesting thing is that we need to not only stay out of our ego, but we need to be very, very impartial. And let's bear in mind that many influencers out there are paid huge amounts of money. And the question is, who funds these people? Where do they get their money from? And the big question is, why are they being funded? Influence, etc., etc. And when we look around, you've got to ask yourself, who funded the protests? Who funds the politicians? Who funded the Ukraine? Who funded Epstein? Who funded Iraq? Who funded 9/11? Who funded JFK's assassination? Or who was involved? So, who these people fund is and how they are funded is very, very important. I mean, the only way that I get funding is by going out and cutting grass and doing some landscaping and gardening. I certainly haven't been approached by anybody to earn, some of these people are earning £500,000 a month. So, It's a very interesting one. It's a very interesting one to work out. Now, meanwhile, in Russia, Kirill Dmitriev is Putin's second in command. Putin announced an Easter ceasefire. This was yesterday. Now, the ceasefire will run from 4 p.m. on Saturday the 11th, which is today, to the end of the 12th of April. So I'm presuming that's midnight on the 26th, which is, of course, Easter Sunday in the Russian Orthodox calendar. Now, I'm sure that Mr. Putin's done that because of the Easter holidays in Russia. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, another thing to remember about today, of course, is 4/11 or 11/4, however you want to write it. Because it's a very interesting thing. Now, remember a week ago, we spoke about the death of King Charles on the 28th of March. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Well, it just happens to be the 28th of March today on the Julian calendar. Okay. And we kind of are asking Vera to confirm this. Now, Vera, of course, is my friend, who is a very intelligent detective, but also a massive calendar follower. You want to know anything about calendars, you speak to Vera. So, yeah, very interesting that today happens to be the 28th of March, which just happens to be the fact that we spoke about King Charles dying on the 28th of March. Anyway, don't worry, 40,000 feet, let's just wait and see. We've now got 44 participants in the chat. Very interesting numbers there, 44. Now, let's have a look here. What we got. Oh, yeah. Now, this weekend, apparently, according to lots of influential people, especially Q, is going to be an interesting time. Now, remember that Easter apparently is the timeline according to Donald Trump and Q. I think it was in 2018 that Donald Trump talked about the timeline being Easter. And then, of course, we've got Mr. Paul, Scavino, Bosi, and all of them geezers all dialed up. Plus, we've got Q drops, military ops, and timing is everything. Now, this is quite interesting. My question to you would be this. What happens if we get to Monday and nothing has happened? Just putting it out there, just in case. Know what I mean? Personally, I can't see it going for another year, but one never fucking knows. One actually never fucking knows. Anyway, now, a lot of people, of course, are blaming. A lot of people are blaming the governments for the problems. It's not the problems of the world are not down to the governments. No, the governments are just the puppets. It's the people above the governments that are the problem. They're the ones that we need to get rid of. They're the ones that need to be hung, drawn, and quartered. They're the ones that need to be. They're the ones that need to be taken out, because they're the ones that are running the world, not the government. Do you really think Keir Starmer? Okay, is running the UK? Holy fuck! There is no way Keir Starmer is running the UK. Absolutely no way. In the same token, there is no way that Tony Blair was running the country back in the day. No. He wasn't running the country. It was more than likely Israel. Is America being run by Israel today? Well, that does lead a very, very good question, doesn't it? One never knows. One never knows. So, the people like Starmer, they're only doing what they're told to do. They're not the problem, of course. It's the people above them. Okay, and this was an interesting one. When we talk about the Irish, now the Irish police apparently have been forced to work for the next 3 days. No leave. No holidays, nothing. No. They've got to work. Now, meanwhile, of course, the Canadian dictator of a chief police from Canada, who just happens to be imported into Ireland, she's not even fucking Irish, has basically, her and the government have called for the army to step in. Now, there was a nodding military donkey that I did see on an Irish podcast. I don't know whether it was yesterday. And he was sort of nodding and saying this, that, and the other. But what we've heard is, right, there's about 9,000 active personnel. That's including pen pushers. In the Irish military, okay, so not many. That's not many people when it comes to. I don't know how big the population of Ireland is, but 9,000 people. That's not a lot. I mean, when you look at I think there's only about 60,000 police officers in the UK, and they are trying to govern 65 million people, which is rather stretching at the most. So that's very interesting as we think about that. Now, we have heard that there are some of the military commanders, about 80%, are refusing to deploy. So this could get very sexy, to be honest. So the other thing as well that we need to remember is there a possibility that the military could be deployed in Ireland to overthrow the government? Now, remember, the government have called on the military to come in, so it wouldn't be out of the equation to basically the military to go in and military law, job done, arrest all the government figures, job fucking done. So, very interesting. Now, then we wanted to recap on Melania's speech yesterday. A speech that surprised many people, and it's kind of thrown the cat in the pigeons. A cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. Once again, my advice is sit at 40,000 feet and observe. Don't get involved. Now, there could be multiple reasons why this happened. Okay, there could be multiple reasons why this happened. And I would imagine that over the next, 24, 48 hours, we are going to find out a lot more on what this actually is. Now, let's look first of all at a few facts. Okay, Melania Trump has been around for a while. We know that's a fact. Melania met Donald Trump round about 1993. Donald and Melania got married. We know that Baron Trump is the baby of Melania and Trump, allegedly. So that's an interesting one. So that's a fact. We know that Trump knew Epstein and Maxwell. So we would also assume that Melania knew Maxwell and Epstein too. Okay. I would imagine that they got together at parties and gatherings. Obviously, they all rub in the same circles, so to speak. Melania said that so Melania was speaking about the victims having a voice and was calling on Congress to give them a voice. Well, the victims have already been silenced for many years, even though she spoke about this transparency. So that's an interesting fact. Of course, we know that Melania is married to Trump, and we also know that she knows certain things because, of course, she's married to Donald Trump. The question is, what does she know and what does she not know? That's the question. We know that Melania is not American. We know that she's possibly Eastern European, maybe Russian. Okay? There's certain things that lead to that we know about. So there we go. Remember that the records that have been released, you do not lie. And remember that what we know about Melania from what we know about her marrying Donald Trump, coming into the Trump empire, having Baron Trump, etc., etc. We know all that because we've been witness to it. Okay, and we've watched her side by side over the years with Donald Trump at all kinds of different events, etc., etc. Okay, which makes this speech that she did even more bizarre than was initially thought. Now, apparently Trump didn't know about this speech, which is really interesting, because if Trump didn't know, why didn't he know? Okay, and surely he would have given the go-ahead for that. If he did know, he would say, yeah, get yourself on stage and, fucking sort yourself out. So there's a few facts there that are, and a few things that are contradictory. Okay. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, I'm not saying that we shouldn't, automatically jump to conclusions. But what I am saying is there's some certain things there that we need to, pay attention to. Secondly, of course, we have this Amanda Ungara, whatever her name is. She has been friends with Melania for a very long time. And I think she was married to a guy called Pablo, or Paulo, a guy called Paulo. Now, Paulo's an interesting character because what he's done, he's basically had Amanda deported to Brazil using the ICE situation. Now, he's very good friends with Donald Trump. Interesting. Paulo had a modelling agency. The modelling agency specialised in Eastern European and Russian women. This is, of course, allegedly back in the day. Now, modelling agencies often are escort agencies. We're not saying that it is, but we're saying that they are often linked to that. So, models start off, and then models become escorts, just like they do on Richard Branson's yachts, maybe, or when you're on Andrew's yacht, as Meghan Markle was. So, very interesting character, Paulo. Now, Paulo apparently is in a custody battle with Amanda. Now, Amanda probably the night before Melania appears on stage, Amanda gives a massive teardown of Melania. Now, Amanda's been very good friends with Melania's mum and dad. apparently. And she said, "I will tear you down, you bitch. Don't you dare lie to me. I know everything there is to know about you and your husband, i.e. Donald Trump." So, been friends with Melania for a very long time, apparently. So that is quite an interesting thing. So we need to bear that in mind. We need to bear that in mind. Now, the Grand National today, you know, you can't write this shit. You can't, I mean, I'm not being funny, right? You cannot write this shit, right? Now, the Grand National today, let me give you some of the runners, okay? I am Maximus, okay? Jag Wars, okay? What's that one? Panic Attack. Fucking Panic Attack? Why would you call an horse a Panic Attack? Then of course we've had Haiti Colors. Now let me just run through them and tell you what they mean. I am Maximus, the fall of the Roman Empire. Remember the film Gladiator? Then let's look at Jag Wars. Jag, of course, is referring to Judge Advocate General. So the Judge Advocate Generals are at war, meaning Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay. Panic Attack. Who's panicking? Well, of course, the cabal are panicking. Haiti Colors. Now, let's just change the wording. Haiti collusion. Who colluded in the Haiti situation? Well, of course, Hillary Clinton did, and Bill Clinton. This is the children. This is the SEAL Team 6, etc., etc. Very interesting. And then, of course, one of the other ones was a horse called Final Orders. Hey, you can't make this shit up. This is the Grand National in the UK. Final Orders. What does that mean? End game. The end game, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we can't really say it any more clearer than that, can we? And interestingly enough, today, the US debt clock. I don't know whether you follow this or not, but if you do, it's come to my attention. They thought they could steal America and sell everything. Uranium One comes to mind. Oh, Hillary Clinton. Yes, the Uranium One, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very interesting. And then, of course, we've got, then we can talk about 1913, the Federal Reserve, when they stole our money. Oh, they were very clever. And, of course, they're going to be held accountable, as you well know. It might not seem like it at the moment, but, of course, it's always darkest before the light. But yeah, so 1913 takes us back to the Federal Reserve. Now, an interesting thing for you to remember is the fourth section of the 14th Amendment. And what it says is, it says, if an invasion on American soil occurs, the debt that is collected will be null and void. So the question is, who invaded from 1913? Well, of course, the bad gang did, the deep state, the cabal, whatever you want to call them. Remember that the Federal Reserve was created in 1913 to steal your money, and steal your money it has done. Now, the debt, of course, that they created is not our debt. It's their debt. They created the debt. Now they've got to pay it back. Unfortunately, they can't pay it back because they haven't got enough money. They haven't got enough gold. And the reason that is because what the clever little shits have done, they've basically designed a paper system where they could print money. If you understand about the fiat monetary system, which is a massive Ponzi scheme, and you understand about how the Federal Reserve works, you will understand what I'm talking about. If you don't know what it is, then you won't know what I'm talking about. So what they did was they created a monetary system that was basically printed on paper. That paper is actually worth nothing because, of course, it's not physical. Now, the only way you can have wealth is by having physical assets, okay, etc., etc. But, of course, as you well know, even your houses and your physical assets can be taken from you in the event of a crash. So don't think that just because you sat in your 5-bedroomed house and you've got £1 million in the bank, don't be thinking that you're safe, because you're not. You're just as vulnerable as fucking everybody else. In fact, I would say somebody living in a tent or a caravan is far less vulnerable than a lot of other people. So anyway, we'll wait and see what happens. And a final thought, and this goes back to Erica Kirk, and it goes back to what Erica Kirk did to Charlie Kirk. Q's always said, watch the wives. The wives are important. Watch the wives. Macron's wife giving him a slap round the gob. Macron's wife with the large todger, which still hasn't been proven yet, by the way. So let's think about Erica Kirk. To me, Erica Kirk, Israel, betrayed Charlie Kirk, robbed him of his money, robbed him of his company, etc., etc. Israel asset. Question is, if Donald Trump did not know Melania was going to speak out, has Melania exposed herself like Erica Kirk, a pretend wife? Now remember that Donald Trump always wanted, one of his great ambitions was to always find out who was loyal to him. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listen. It's been a great Saturday. Thanks for joining me. A little bit short tonight on time, but not to worry. We can't keep going over the same things hour after hour after hour. Of course, I actually thought the horses at the Grand National was really, really interesting. So we will, of course, wait and see. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you take care. Have a great Saturday evening. Enjoy yourself, whatever it is you happen to be doing. And we will, of course, see you all again tomorrow, which, of course, is Easter Sunday, Resurrection Day, apparently. And remember to hold that thought. What are you going to do if nothing happens? Remember, the ending won't be for everyone. Take care. Love you loads. We'll see you all again soon. Cheers, bye.